Completing Gen 3's Pokédex is literally impossible. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire were the original Dexit. You weren't able to complete the National Pokédex just by playing those games. Actually, it required you to play multiple games on multiple consoles. You see, all generations are connected besides Gen 2 and 3. This is because changes were made to Pokemon stats in Gen 3, as well as a switch from the Game Boy Color to the Game Boy Advance. This means that only the regional Dex could be completed in Ruby and Sapphire, and most of the Kanto and Johto Pokemon were missing. It stayed this way until a year later when the Gen 3 remakes of Red and Blue released, and you could catch and transfer all Kanto Pokemon as well as some of the Johto Pokemon from the post-game, but only some. You weren't able to catch the rest until Emerald released with a new area in the Safari Zone that included the remaining Johto Pokemon. But after that, there are still 6 legendaries left to complete the National Dex. This is where the Nintendo GameCube comes into play. To get Lugia, you have to play through Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness to obtain it at the end. Then to get Ho-Oh, you have to beat Pokemon Coliseum to 100% completion, then win 100 consecutive battles at Mount Battle. After that, it's time to get Celebi and Jirachi. If you owned a pre-order copy of Coliseum, you would get a bonus disc which contains them depending on the region. A US copy would contain Jirachi, and a Japanese copy would contain Celebi, so you would have to get them both, or you could also obtain Jirachi from the PAL version of Pokemon Channel if you beat the game 100%. Now what about the last two? Well, this is where completing the Pokédex becomes truly impossible. In order to get the Oxys legitimately, you need an event item for Pokemon Emerald that was only distributed from 2003 to 2005. Mew can also be obtained through Pokemon Emerald with another event item. An event item that was only distributed in 2005, exclusively in Japan. So all in all, completing the Gen 3 National Pokédex without cheating requires 2 event items, one of which are regionally exclusive, 2 Game Boy Advances, 1 GameCube with at least 2 games, a link cable, 5 handheld games, and a whole lot of time. This is without mentioning the tedious process of actually catching and raising some of the Pokemon. And you thought Dexit was bad?